We said back in June, as that plane approached landing and the 2-month, what's he going to do, period ended, he needed to not do the McAfee show this year. He gets nothing from it. It doesn't help the team. There's nothing about doing it that in any way advances the effort to win. And they went through this with Ben Roethlisberger when he was doing 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh years ago. Every time he did it, he would say something that pissed someone off on the team. And he'd have an issue in the locker room. And it created a news bite that created a headline. And it's like, why are you doing this? Just do your midweek press conference, do your post-game press conference, and don't do anything else. And that he hasn't been, and there's been no fanfare. There was never an announcement. McAfee just moved on. No more Tuesdays with Aaron. That was the centerpiece of the show. That's one of the, now look, there's a lot of reasons why the show's been successful, but that was one of the things that gave it real lift. Rodgers doing every Tuesday.
Not a good source for me, that show. Yeah.
It just ended.
Right.
It's just gone. Just gone. And good for Aaron Rodgers to understand that it was the smart move, because he gets in those settings and he starts talking about that crazy stuff that gets him criticized legitimately. It was smart for him to say, I don't need to do this. And I thought it was funny that Al Michaels was saying in the booth at the end, or toward the end of last week's game, that Rodgers told them that when he's done, he's just going to fade away. He's been in the spotlight all his life. And Al said, we'll see. And I'm with you, Al. We'll see. Because I don't think he's going to fade away. Whether it's a podcast on the Joe Rogan network or whatever it is, Rodgers is going to be back at some point, because Rodgers is going to realize life's different. Life's very different when you have no voice and you have no platform. And he's got 40 years plus left to live. And I don't think he's going to revel in 40 years of anonymity.
No, I don't know what to think there. There is a part of me that thinks he could kind of fade away, and you just see him at random events every now and then, and he just might be like, I'm going to go live my life and whatever. I do think that's a real possibility, right? But I understand what you're saying, too. He might be able to find the balance of like, hey, I get out of the spotlight, whatever. But, yeah, I do a podcast where I control the environment and I can say what I want and all of that, too. But I will say I think he is one of those guys that is possibly could walk away, and we don't see him much. I do. I really do. Just knowing him and seeing him throughout his career and how he is that way. I mean, yes, he wasn't in the spotlight a whole lot until the last few years with some of the McAfee and stuff. He kind of did stay in the shadows a little bit and let his play kind of talk to him for a long, long time. And I think a little bit like we've talked about in the psychology of it, I think he got a little bit towards the end of his career in Green Bay and all that, insecure, bitter, whatever, when he just saw, wait, Brady's having a second wind of his career. Man, people think Brady's way better than me. Are you kidding me? He's like, if I go on a field, there's nothing he can do better than me. So I think that's got him spouting off, and that got him putting pressure on Green Bay about getting players and free agency and all of that. And I think, yeah, he hit a little part of his life where he was trying to compartmentalize his career, his life, all of that, and figure it out. And I think he's past that now. And I think he seems kind of at calm and at peace here. And I could see him escaping away, Mike. I could.
And I think you're onto something in one very important respect. He spent a lot of years of his career obsessed with what people said and thought about him. So he never wanted to say or do anything that would give people a basis to not like him or criticize him or whatever, because that was the narrative. He's sensitive. He's very sensitive. He's sensitive about the fact that he's sensitive. There was a 60 Minutes profile on him years ago, and one of the threads they pulled was how sensitive he is, and he was upset about it. And the response that was issued by 60 Minutes was basically, see? What did we say? He's so sensitive. He's sensitive about being called sensitive. And then he got to a point where he just didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah, that's
right. He says whatever he wants. And he understands, you know what? And maybe he watched our political reality. Is it better to have no one hate you and no one love you? Or is it better to have 30% of the people intensely love you and 30% of the people intensely despise you? What's better? Now, he's not to that same extreme, And I don't know that he's truly polarizing because I don't know how many people are hanging on every word of Aaron Rodgers, right? I know there's a lot of people that don't like what he has to say, but there aren't exactly, in my estimation, this rousing chorus of we want more Aaron Rodgers like other figures have developed. So it's going to be an interesting situation because, Chris, if you intend to fade into the spotlight or out of the spotlight for 40 years because you've been in it for 40 years, you don't do a 3-hour sit down with Joe Rogan for no reason, which he did this summer. 3 hours, that's a marathon. 3 hours nonstop, no breaks, just go. So I think he'll find a way back, a very calculated way back into the spotlight at some point.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.